What's up, everybody? We're back at it, analyzing Prose of the Prose and showing a breakdown of what? Well, Project Hail Mary. That's right, by Andy Weir from 2021. As we all know, the movie just came out. This is going to be a deep dive into only the first page of the book. So, first page spoilers. There will be indeed spoilers. So, if you want to skip this and come back later, please do. No hard feelings. To the YouTube gods out there, remember that this is for educational purposes. I am a developmental editor and writing teacher, and I am not going to be reading the chapter to read the chapter. I am actually going to be analyzing the style and writing of prose and the opening page, but I will not go any further. All right, I have to get that out of the way. For you students out there, as always, I do have a list of items that I go over, which I will also show you as I move through the 12 points of the video, from tense and pace to logical narrative movement and sentence length, etc. Each item on the list will be a deep dive. The purpose of this long form video is to show you how to analyze writing so you can take what you can from it and develop your own rules. Because remember, all rules are made up. Somebody says, I like this, they kept it, they used it on their own. Someone said, I don't like this, they changed it, and they did what they wanted to see how it moved. That's right. Writing is all about making choices as an author. You do not have to follow all the rules. You just need to understand what they are so you can break them. As we know, of course, I'm only going to be using like the first 300 words, and you could do this too. You could use the first 300 words. It's not a lot of work, and I will give you a bit of direction on how you personally can approach the other books and their prose. The goal is to learn the skill of going beyond just reading and a deeper dive into craft. Remember, this is a fun exercise for the craft brain, not the craft cheese. But hey, and something you personally, as an author, can do for your own books. Why? Because it's a skill you can develop to help you developmental edit your own stuff. You'll be able to look and you'll be able to look at your work with new magical eyes. Anyway, interesting. All right, let's get into it. Oh, before we move any further, just remember you could subscribe if you like what you've been watching and you just haven't done so already. Just know you can subscribe. All right, let's get into it. Let's get into it. Yeah. Where are we? Oh, boom. Okay. All right, everybody, ladies and gents. Ladies and gents. All right. Do. All right, first thing we're gonna do is we're gonna just read through it, and then we'll go back and we'll start with everything. Okay, we'll figure out what the POV is, the tense, sentence length stuff, and we'll just go through the list. Okay. And remember, if you have questions, feel free to ask them in the comments. I'll come back and ask them. If you want me to go deeper into what I am doing, for example, if you want me to go into what the elements are, and you want videos on that, I'm happy to do it. All right. This is a deep dive, so let's see what happens here. All right. What's 2 plus 2? Oh. What's 2 plus 2? Something about the question irritates me. I'm tired. I drift back to sleep. A few minutes pass. Then I hear it again. What's 2 plus... Oh, what's 2 plus 2? The soft, feminine voice lacks emotion, and the pronunciation is identical to the previous time she said it. It's a computer. A computer is hassling me. I'm even more irritated now. I say, I'm surprised. I meant to say, leave me alone. A completely reasonable response, in my opinion, but I failed to speak. Incorrect, says the computer. What's 2 plus 2? Time for an experiment. I'll say hello. I say, incorrect. What's 2 plus 2? What's going on? I want to find out, but I don't have much to work with. I can't see. I can't hear anything other than the computer. I can't even feel. No, that's not true. I feel something. I'm laying down. I'm on something soft. A bed? I think my eyes are closed. That's not so bad. All I have to do is open them. I try, but nothing happens. Why can't I open my eyes? Open! And open! Open, dang it! Oh, I felt a wiggle that time. My eyelids moved. I felt it. Open! My eyelids creep up and blinding light shears my retinas. Ah! I say, I keep my I keep my eyes open with sheer force of will. Everything is white with shades of pain. That's a good line. Eye movement detected. My tormentor says, "What's 2 plus 2?" The whiteness lessens. My eyes are adjusting. I start to see shapes, but nothing sensible yet. Let's see. Can I move my hands? Nope. Feet? Also no. All right, let's get into it. That was fun. All right. So obviously, the POV is first person POV, and the reason is because we have the the I. Okay. Tense. This is present tense. Why is it present tense? Something about the question irritates me. It is in the present. If it was past, it would be irritated me. If it was the future, though, future tense, which is let's look it up real quick, just so I can give you the direct. I don't want to mislead you. Future tense is in a narrative is a very rare style. Yes, I agree. She will enter the room. So something about the question will irritate me, or you know, something like that. She'll be walking to the store. She will have finished by then. Like you have to add a lot of. Don't do it. In fact, for future reference, let's just. Well, no, I'll leave it there. Sentence lengths. Let's talk about it. All right. So I like doing this. I like color coding it. I do this, by the way. I like to download the PDFs of stuff, and then I do a nice 1-2. You know what? This one. Let's get back. Jump color. There's jump color. Let's jump a color. Whoops. All right, 1 second. I apologize. I'm trying to rush through it, and I'm doing it. All right. Trying to rush through it, and I shouldn't. Let's slow down and breathe a minute. Yeah. Let's do red. All right. And then, oh wait, we can't do red. Let's go back to the red is too similar to this one. Purple, purple, purple nurple. All right, so what am I doing here? I like to be able to see the color coding reality of the sentences, and that helps me kind of figure out the rhythm. Not that I would use like I won't write and be like, oh, I need a short sentence and a short sentence and then another like I don't do that per se, but it allows me to look at rhythm and how often the rhythms change up. But like the other thing it does is it helps erase the stigmatism of how a book is supposed to, the how a book is supposed to look. And you see fantastic examples of quality writing as such that has been sold, that has been turned into a movie, that has legs, and it's not doing the things that we are constantly told as writers on the what do we call it, the internet, or from writing coaches or teachers. And one of the things I'm often comfortable saying to writers that say, I don't want to know the rules, or I don't need to know the rules, or whatever they say. Thinking about this stuff makes me not like writing. And I get it. I was there. But I often will say, well, do whatever you want, because you can. This is an art form. The thing. So why hire someone like me? Like, not me specifically, but someone like me, right? What's the point? Why learn the rules if they're not important? I could do whatever I want. I do believe that you should learn the rules enough to understand them and break them, and then do whatever you want. But again, if you wanted to write a story that was just pure octane action for 300 pages, go ahead. There's nothing wrong with that as a creative medium. The thing is, the moment you want an audience and you want to make a living doing this, you have to technically think about engagement. You have to technically think about, for example, one quick example is there's only so much a reader knows going into a book they have never read. So the big deal is they need context. They need to understand what is happening, what has happened, the potential of what could happen, etc., right? And that's a rule, is context. The reader, not that you should be writing for the reader, you should be writing the books and stories you want to read. But the moment you want to make a living, you have to think of clarity. You have to think things need to be understood so the reader knows what's happening, knows where it's going. Because without that, it's just stuff on the page, right? And you're like, yeah, but it's entertaining. Well, it might be entertaining, but it could also turn into confusion. The engagement, believe it or not, and I say this lightly, is suspense, tension, will they, won't they, can they, can't they, right? If you've ever heard, what's his name? Why can't I think of his name? Alfred Hitchcock. He talks about how the suspense isn't the fact that you don't know what's going to happen, right? Like, for example, let's say somebody is a traitor, right? Okay, somebody is going to betray the protagonist, but you, as the reader, don't know that. It's just out of nowhere after, I don't know, after like 100 pages, the best friend betrays the protagonist. Yeah, that's interesting, right? It could be. I'm not saying it's not, but there's no tension, and sometimes it feels like a lost opportunity, right? It's like, oh, they betrayed them. Oh, I'm angry for them, right? But at the same time, if you, the reader, know there's scheming going on, that also could be interesting. But having those options and understanding why those options are available is important. Also, seeding. So maybe you don't want to give away that they are going to betray, but you still have to seed stuff so that when the reader goes back, they're like, oh, it was always there. If it's not always there, then it's just something happens and it doesn't necessarily land, if that makes sense. All right. Now that I got that. Sentence lengths. Oh, by the way, irritates. Wow. Oh, because I erased it. All right. What's 2 plus 2? This is the starting sentence. Strong. It creates, it's vague but informative. It is asking a question. The informative is someone is asking a question. That's context, or enough context. We understand somebody is asking a question. The vagueness is who is asking a question. Then we learn a position. This is a character position. So the sentence is right there, and boom, we're getting into it. So the rhythm moves through that. I also, by the way, if you notice, it's 1, and then it's 3, and then it's 1, 1, and then there's a moment. We're sitting for a moment. This is, technically, we're not on 3, but this is pace. We slowed the pace down so we could sit in the breath for a second. But then it gets faster down here. Time for an experiment. I'll try to say hello. Incorrect. What's 2 plus 2? Right? These short sentences are creating the rhythm of back and forth, and it's pulling the narrative. It's not sitting or staying. Even this is a slower pace because we are having more information. Because remember, pace is the speed at which information is presented to the reader. And we're kind of sitting in there, like what's going on. But when we get here, look how quick this is. I love this. Look, it's one sentence. Why can't I open my eyes? Open. Now, technically, this could be this. Okay? But the reason I suspect it's not, other than to create movement, why can't I open my eyes? Open and open. Open, dang it, right? like that rhythm makes us read down the page quicker, right? It helps us. It's faster paced. It's the least amount of information that we need, but it has vague but informative. Why can't I open my eyes? Well, that's informative, but it's still vague enough where we're like, what's going on? But my point is, these are different movements. Why can't I open my eyes is a movement. It presents an opportunity for explanation. Open is an action. Nothing happened. And open, right? This is a change in emotion. It went from open, like open, open, right, to more aggressive. It's a new movement. Open, dang it. This is frustration. So this is, let's try it. This is like, all right, what's going open? And then this is frustration. And then this is, oh, I felt a wiggle that time. My eyelids moved. I felt it. Open. My eyelids creeped open. This one is supposed to be bold. It's bold in the book, and it's italicized because it's obviously in its head. But more importantly, this is like, so these are different emotional movements. Movement isn't just physical, though it can be. It is behavioral, and it's a movement flows through not only the emotional experience and choices of a character, but also it flows through the narrative purpose of something. So a movement can be internal and external, but it is serving a purpose, whether that is an emotional establishment, a reaction to that, whatever the case is, right? Movement has a lot of stuff going on. We'll talk about that. Okay. So there you go. We did soft and hard chapter breaks. There are none in this particular one. Okay. Beginning, middle, and end. All right. So since we're not doing a full chapter exploration, which I will be doing more of those as we move this channel forward, but those will be under either the Patreon, one of the Patreon tiers, or the YouTube membership tier. I will have, because it's going to be a deep dive into a chapter, and I'll basically be doing this, but I'll be exploring, I'll be showing like how, how the beginning, middle, and end. All right, so pace. Pace, again, is the speed at which information is presented to the reader. So what's 2 plus 2? Vague but informative. That's going to be down there. But something about the question irritates me. I'm tired. I drift back to sleep. Now, this is a new movement because a few minutes pass, then I hear it again. All right. So this establishes one physical beat. All right. And the pace is letting us sit there, but it's still quick. The pace is quick because something about the question irritates me as information. This information is really strict, fast, because it's I'm tired. I drift back to sleep. It is not the word count. It's the information we are learning. Something about the question irritates me is fast because it is stating one thing. If it was, all right, let's say it was that voice. They struck at me. Something about the question irritates me. Something. Obviously, this the book is funnier than this, but this becomes slower pace because we are learning, not because it's longer, but that voice information, the way it struck at me, that is 2 points of information. Something about the question irritates me is 3. Something about the way it speaks hits me 4. In the dark prison I'm stuck in. That's 5 points of information. All right. So when you're writing, even if, let me get it back here. Okay. So let's this. Okay. I say, I'm surprised. I meant to say, leave me alone. A completely reasonable response, in my opinion, but I failed to speak. This is technically still fast paced. All right. Because is 1 point information. I'm surprised is 1 point information, but it's a new sentence. That's a thing, right? Okay. All right. But if we're looking at the passage itself, let's just count the passage. Is one. I'm surprised. Two. I meant to say it's three. A completely reasonable response, in my opinion. That's a position, by the way. So that's four. And then, but I failed to speak. Okay. That is five. All right. Fair. But it's the periods. Now, if this was all one long thought, that would be a slower pace. But because we have the short bursts, that's what helps with the quicker pace, the faster pace, is because we are learning things in snippets. This is one, and then it starts over. I'm surprised. And now it's one, two, three. Okay. And that's how you break up pace and how you control the pace. That's why you use sentences for pace control. So even though this whole section is 5 points of information that we learn as a reader, it is still broken up into snippets. Now, when I write epic fantasy stuff, I like to incorporate more than one element. So in any given sentence, you should have one or more of these three elements, which is, do I have it here? Oh, yeah. Here's plot, character, world. So at any given time, you want to explore the plot forward. You want character development or world or build the world. Okay, we'll get to that. But what's happening here is a lot of this is just 1 point of information, and then I meant to say leave me alone. Completely reasonable response, and that's 3, right? So if we incorrect, says the computer. 1. What's 2 plus 2? What's 2 plus 2? This is a repeat of information. Okay, so technically, the brain isn't trying to understand what that is. We are getting it's repetitive. We know it's a female emotional voice. We know it's a computer. So now, what's 2 plus 2? Isn't technically information. That becomes invisible to our mind because we have context. The fact that we know it's a computer, the fact that it has a feminine voice, it has painted an illustration in our mind, and that becomes invisible. So the pace, that's how you create fast read, by the way. The more we understand about something through seeding and discovery, the easier the read is, therefore allowing us not to think about it. Incorrect, says the computer. What's 2 plus 2? Okay. Now, bear in mind, it doesn't start off with what's 2 plus 2, the computer said. A feminine voice from a computer said. No, we let it come to us, even in, what is this? 92 words. What's 2 plus 2? That irritates me. I still don't know what it is, but it repeats. What's 2 plus 2? Now we understand. It's a feminine voice. It's soft. It's soft, feminine voice, lacks emotion. Okay. This is a slow pace. The soft, feminine voice lacks emotion, and the pronunciation is identical to the previous time it said it. That's 4 pieces of information in one sentence. That is a slow paced sentence. Oh, it's a computer. So now, us as the reader technically have 6 points of information, but because the first part gave us 4, and then it's like, you know what? The reader just needs to know one thing. It's a computer. It's a definitive statement that the character recognizes. But let's give it more information. This is a computer is hassling me. Computer doesn't count as a new point of information because we already know it's a computer. Now we are defining it. We are qualifying it, right? Hassling me. That's 1 point of information. I'm even more irritated now. 1 point of information. All right. So that's how pace works. And that's what you're looking for when you're reading back. Now, is slow pace bad? There is like a style of thought out there where it's like, you got to keep it moving. You got to keep the fast pace. But slow pace allows us to sit. It allows a moment to breathe so we can understand more context without being overwhelmed with exposition. There is a difference. There is a difference between what's 2 plus 2? And then it's saying the soft feminine voice lacks emotion and pronouncing is identical to the previous time she said it. This computer, it was made in 1901, and it's working off of the system control of the ship that I'm on because I'm in space traveling, and it's been 13 years. Too much. That becomes exposition dump. So when it is moving through the narrative, that is stronger logical narrative movement. It keeps the fast read going. We are learning information that propels forward, and we'll talk about that in a second. All right, that's good for pace. Shows sometimes tell through character experience, telling the audience. All right, it is again going right through this. What's 2 plus 2? That's not telling, that's showing. What's 2 plus 2? Something is asking. We are hearing it, right? We are hearing it. Something about the question irritates me. That is technically telling. I'm tired. That is telling. I drift back to sleep. That is also telling. Okay, so this is show because it is we are hearing it. It's not saying somebody said, oh, what's 2 plus 2? It's just saying, well, what's 2 plus 2? It is in the moment, it happens. The reason this is telling is because it's straightforward. Something about the question irritates me. That's telling. All right, a few minutes pass, then I hear it again. That is technically telling. What's 2 plus 2? What's 2 plus 2? The soft feminine voice lacks emotion. This is show. And the pronunciation is identical to the previous time she said. This is a mixture of telling, but it is showing because we are in first person and we are describing we are describing the texture of the voice. All right. So this is a statement of position, and this is what is being experienced. Okay. It's a computer that's telling. A computer is hassling me. That is also telling. I'm even more irritated now. Technically, we are showing the internal struggle of a character, but it is a telling statement. And this is the point. Show, sometimes tell. When somebody says, you got to show and not tell. No, telling is important. You need telling for context. You need telling for understanding. You need telling to make sense of things. All right, like this. I'm surprised is telling. I meant to say, leave me alone. A completely reasonable response, in my opinion, but I failed to speak. All right. This is technically all telling, but the way the character is moving through that telling becomes what? Showing through behavior. The way they are experiencing. Here's the play of nuance. The way they are experiencing. Because remember, narrative is made up of both plot and story. Plot is what needs to happen no matter what, and story is how the plot unfolds through the emotional experiences and choices of the character. So, story is what we're witnessing, even though it is telling. But we are seeing, we are experiencing the character working through what's going on. That is technically showing because we are hearing that, right? I'm surprised is their internal battle. I meant to say, leave me alone. A completely reasonable response, in my opinion, but I failed to speak. Also, by the way, this is not AI. Okay. You're allowed to use M dashes. All right. My point is, though, we are learning something about the computer. Incorrect, says the computer. What's 2 plus 2? Time for an experiment. I'll try to say hello. This, again, is technically telling, but we are showing the character's behavior or internal processing by how they are responding to it. I said, incorrect. What's 2 plus 2? What's going on? I want to find out, but I don't have much to work with. I can't see, I can't hear anything other than the computer. I can't even feel. No, that's not true. I feel something. I'm laying. There's character already there. There is, you know what I'm saying? We are showing who this character is and how they are processing the experience of what's going on. It's just it's first person. So it comes off more like straight telling, but it's not. But my point is show, sometimes tell. You're allowed to tell. It also helps with pacing. What's going on is one. I want to find out. That's one. But I don't have much to work with. I want to find out, but I don't have. That's one. I can't see. That's one. I can't hear anything other than the computer. That's also one because we already know there's a computer. So it's not new information. I can't even feel. That's one. No, that's not true. That's one. I feel something. That's one. I'm laying down. That's one. I'm on a soft bed. Something's off. That's one. A bed. That's one. Now, if this was all one long sentence, that would be slower pace because it would be, I can't even feel, comma, but wait, no, that's not true, comma, I feel something, M dash, I'm laying down. that it becomes slower. But because it's short sentences, it's a faster pace read, or I shouldn't say a fast read. It's a faster pace because we are only learning one chunk of information at a time. Boom, 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 right? Now, when I write, I would probably add a little bit more chunk to the sentences, only because I like to move through uh, more of like how I'm experiencing it in real life, you know. But this character is also, if you don't know the story, they're waking up from a coma. So there's a lot of what's going on, right? Scattered thought. We're inside the brain. All right. So sometimes show, sometimes tell. Do not allow that to be the be all end all. If somebody says, "Oh, you need to show more," no. Sometimes you just need to be like, "They entered the friggin' room." You know what I'm saying? Sometimes you have to be like, "It is cold in here." You could have a character be like, "Oh, it's cold," and yeah, sure. Now you want characters holding their hands. Maybe they're bundling up. Maybe they have a jacket on. That's all you need. You don't have to go into the super depth of like how the cold is affecting them. You just need to allow it to be present. Always have things present. The computer in the environment is constantly present in this moment. What's 2 plus 2? What's 2 plus 2? Incorrect. What's 2 plus 2? The computer is constantly present, and the computer is part of the environment. It is also a character, technically. It's another character. It's another character. All right. Moving on. All right. Something is happening, but nothing is happening. All right. Let me explain this first. Something is happening is that we are witnessing literally something happening, but nothing is happening is because it lacks what? What does it lack? Do you remember? Does anyone? Do we remember? Do remember? Nothing is happening is because the plot is not unfolding through the emotional experiences and choices of the character. What that means is, if I was going to use a real quick example, a character enters a deli. They go over and get a soda. They pass by somebody and nod, saying hello, good morning. They get to the counter and they say, "Hey, how's it going?" And the counter person says, "Pretty good. That's gonna be $2." And they go, "Great. Do you take credit cards?" And they go, "Yeah, absolutely." They scan their credit card and then they leave. Nothing. Something happened, but nothing is happening. So let's look at that with something is happening. The character walks in and gets a phone call. Looks at the number and refuses to pick up their father's call. Gets to the refrigerator and they look through it and they see Coke and then they see Dietary Pepsi. I don't know. They grab the Pepsi and then they see another flavor, but it's a power drink and they actually put the Pepsi back and grab the power drink. They walk past somebody and they avoid the eyes of the person walking by and don't say hello. These are all choices and their emotional experiences. Doesn't pick up the phone of their father. That's an emotional choice. Picks up soda, then decides to go for the power drink. That's a choice. Something is happening. We are witnessing the character behaving. If the character just comes in, gets a thing, and there's just no challenge to positions, what do they like? Well, it looks like they like Pepsi over Coke. But wait, they went for the energy drink. Something challenged them. There's probably something they need energy for. They saw their father's number. Their position, we don't really know it yet, but it's the seed of challenge. They don't pick it up. They get to the counter. Person says hello, and they go, "Oh, I don't have any cash. Is it right if I pay with card?" What is the difference between that and the other example? I don't have cash is technically esteem. It's a moment of vulnerability. They feel like they're about to be judged, and I don't think I'm going to be able to get this. I thought I had my cash. Oh, you take cards? All right, good, thanks. I appreciate it. And then the person says, "No problem, Jerry." You go, "Oh, thanks, Chris. I'll see you next week," or whatever. "I'll see you tomorrow." My point is, if things are just happening in order and there's no challenge, no pushback, we're not getting to see the character making choices or emotionally experiencing things. For example, if they grab the energy drink and it's cool against their hand, and they hold it up and they have to switch it between hands, and they're like, "All right," and then they pull down their sleeve to hold it because it's really cold. That's emotional experiences and choices. That's all that means. So that's what we're looking for. Something is happening, but nothing is happening. Let's see what's going on. What's 2 plus 2? Something about the question irritates me. I'm tired. I drift back to sleep. All right. emotional experience, and choices. Something about the question irritates me is clearly experience. I'm tired. Is there physical and emotional experience? They are tired. I drift back to sleep. This also. All right. We are challenging them. They are tired and they can't stay awake. What's going on? Something about the question irritates me. They're waking up. They're like, what's going on? A few minutes pass, then I hear it again. This is experience because they fell asleep and then they wake up again. Right? It's not deep emotional experience, and it doesn't have to be. What's 2 plus 2? What's 2 plus 2? The soft feminine voice lacks emotion, blah, blah, blah. That is neither here nor there, but it is the experience because the character, the POV of the character, is placing emotional truth to it. They are creating a position. The voice lacks emotion. This is what they're paying attention to. They're making a choice to what they're listening to. And they are defining what it is and what it sounds like. And the pronunciation is identical to the previous time she said it. Oh, it's a computer. A computer is hassling me. This becomes a position. They feel hassled. It's an emotional response. They're perceiving the computer as hassling them. I'm even more irritated. That is 100% emotional experience. I'm surprised. More emotional experience. This is a choice. I meant to say, leave me alone. A completely reasonable response, in my opinion. But I failed to speak. I failed to speak is the emotional experience. All right. Emotional experience doesn't have to be that they have an anger or something, but failed is defining something. They feel it is an exploration or an explanation of their own defeat. They are judging themselves. I failed to speak. I know in reality, it's like failed to speak just means they couldn't speak. But I couldn't speak is different than I failed to speak. The character is defining themselves as failing. It is an emotional response to not being able to speak. But we're also learning positions, so that's nice. Incorrect, the computer says the computer. Oh, what's 2 plus 2? Time for an experiment. This is a choice. This is less emotional experience and more of a direct choice. I'll try to say hello. Direct choice. I say. Incorrect. What's 2 plus 2? What's going on? Now we're back into emotional experience because they're like, they're responding to it. I want to find out, but I don't have much to work with. I can't see. I can't hear anything other than the computer. I can't even feel. No, that's not true. I feel something. I'm laying down. This is all emotional experience. It's how they're perceiving their environment. I think my eyes are closed. That's not so bad. All I have to do is open them. That's a choice. I try, but nothing happens. That's choice and experience. Why can't I open my eyes? Emotional experience. Open and open. Open. These are choices and emotional experiences. Oh, I felt the wiggle that time. My eyelids moved. I felt it. Emotional experience. This is why it's so good and so simple. It's so simple and so good. All right, let's keep it going. Logical narrative movement. For anyone out there, what is logical narrative movement? Logical narrative movement, I'll read my definition so I have it, is letting each sentence follow naturally from the previous one by carrying forward an element that was already introduced. The next sentence either explores, expands, or qualifies that element. It goes deeper into that element, exploring its detail. Okay. It expands by widening the element to connect to another element and clarifies the element's meaning or relevance. This keeps the reader's attention moving in a straight line, therefore creating a fast read. The mind does not reset, reorient, or stop to bridge gaps in the logic. They are not. The less a reader has to think, the more logical the movement is. This keeps the reader's attention moving, as we said. Let's see. Okay. Basically, if you do it well, the passages read quite smoothly, and every line has a purpose, and the narrative feels continuous. So again, logical narrative movement means that if you create a sentence, the next sentence must connect to that sentence in some way or some form, and it will explore, expand, or qualify one or more elements within that sentence. If we go back up here, what's 2 plus 2? This is only one element. Something was said. It's a question. It is a question. All right. So the question irritates me. All right. So, okay. Something about the question irritates me. And then you might be saying, but Thomas, I'm tired. I drift back to sleep. Don't connect directly to the question. But irritates me is the emotional element that is. It irritates me. What happens when you're super tired? You get irritated, right? Because you're like frustrated. So something about the question irritates me. So this is a direct response to a what? What's 2 plus 2? What is 2 plus 2? Right? We could be saying we are going deeper into the element, but we're not necessarily. But we are expanding by widening the element to connect to another one. Something about the question irritates me. This is the expanding. Now, the next point is actually going to do what? All right. We are expanding again. Okay. We are expanding irritates into a physical reality, which is I'm tired. I drift back to sleep. This also qualifies. This qualifies I'm tired. I'm tired. So therefore I fall back to sleep. They are sleeping. Now, it doesn't have to be a direct link to a word. It just has to be connected to the idea. And the idea is I drift back to sleep. But a few minutes pass and then I hear it again. So that means they fell asleep and they woke up when they heard, but you don't have to say I woke up. What's 2 plus 2? Again, we are now going to qualify the voice. The soft feminine voice lacks emotion and the pronunciation is identical to the previous time she said it. Now, we are going to expand. It's a computer. Well, technically that qualifies it because we are now, the qualification is the element has meaning and relevance now. Oh, there it is. But now we expand. A computer is hassling me. So hassling is the new element. I'm even more irritated now. All right, and it just keeps going that way. I say, all right, they're irritated and they're trying to talk to the computer, but they can't. So that now shifts it. We are moving. We're exploring. Right? All right. This is exploration. I'm surprised. Why? Because what is this? What just happened? I'm surprised. So let's explore it. I meant to say, leave me alone. A completely reasonable response, in my opinion, but I failed. This is also exploring. Exploring. Incorrect, says the computer. Ooh, that's 2 plus 2. Time for an experiment. All right, because this is a direct response to not being able to communicate with the computer, etc., etc. I'll try to say hello. Time for an experiment. Okay, well, let's expand on that. We're expanding on experiment. Experiment is the element. I'll try to say hello. And that is expanding. Why? Because we are moving the element into something. Incorrect. What's 2 plus 2? This is a direct, incorrect is a direct response to this because they were asking what's 2 plus 2? What's 2 plus 2? What's going on? Is a direct response to the confusion, to not being able to do what they want to do. I want to find out, but I don't have much to work with. This is a direct expansion to what's going on. Okay. Now, I will say this. Okay. We are expanding because we're adding a new element. What's going on? I want to find out, but I don't have much. I don't have much to work with. Well, let's qualify that. I can't see. I can't hear. I can't hear anything other than the computer. I can't even feel. All these are continuous qualifiers to the idea. It is seated, it is linked directly to the logical narrative movement of this, and the reader in short bursts learns, I can't see, I can't hear anything other than the computer, I can't even feel. Wait, it's now time to do what? Okay, this is also, by the way, this is technically more exploring because we are going deeper into this. The expansion is, no, that's not true. This becomes the expansion. I feel something. I'm lying down. We're learning more stuff. We're learning new elements. All right. So logical narrative movement, you always want that cause and effect, and you want to link directly to something and build on it. And that also helps with pace. That helps with the fast read. That helps with the reader not having to put too much thought into it. But that is different. That is way different than going into greater detail, because that's exposition. The more exposition you add, the slower the pace gets. And now the brain is learning a lot of stuff, but not necessarily putting stuff together. But if you put small bits together, it's a voice, it's identical. Oh, it's a computer is hassling me. Now we don't have to worry about that. Now, anytime it goes incorrect, says the computer, what's 2 plus 2? This whole sentence is invisible. We know it's a computer already, and it's a repeat of what's 2 plus 2? What's 2 plus 2? Okay? All right, let's keep it going. New movements. I think we already talked about, we already talked about movements. Movements. We already talked about plot, character, world. All right. Well, what's 2 plus 2? Plot. Something about the question irritates me. This is character. I'm tired. Plot. I drift back to sleep. Plot. A few minutes pass, then I hear it again. Plot. What's 2 plus 2? Plot. The soft feminine voice lacks emotion, and the pronunciation is identical to the previous time she said it. Plot. It's a computer! That's plot. A computer is hassling me. Character. And plot. I'm even more irritated now. Character. And plot. Okay. Now remember, every sentence should have one or more of those three things: plot forward, character development, or world building. It could have one of them, two of them, or three of them. So far, we're learning that some of these sentences have one, and other sentences are actually two. Plot. I'm surprised. Technically, plot and character. I meant to say, leave me alone. That is plot, but this is character. A completely reasonable response, in my opinion. Why? Because we are discovering a position, what they believe. Anytime you learn details about who or what or how a character perceives their world, that becomes character development. We are learning, we are discovering who they are. Their behavior is character development. But I failed to speak. This is plot. This is plot. Failed makes it character, so it's plot and character. Incorrect, says the computer. What's 2 plus 2? This is plot. Time for an experiment. This is plot and character. They are making a choice. They're experiencing things, blah, blah, blah. I'll try to say hello. That's just plot. Plot. Incorrect. What's 2 plus 2? Both of those are plot. What's going on? This is plot and technically character, because of like what's going, it's behavior. They're like, what's going on? Like, this is crazy. I want to find out, but I don't have much to work with. This is plot and character. I can't see. Plot. I can't hear anything other than the computer. Plot. I can't even feel. Plot. Oh, that's not true. Plot. I feel something. Plot. I'm laying down. Plot. I'm on something soft. Plot. A bed. Plot. All right, so let me explain some things. Why is it plot forward? We are learning information that helps develop the context and understanding of what is happening, what has happened, and what could happen. That's basically plot forward. Anytime we learn information to build the environment, that's different than world building is like cultural laws. Right now, there's a computer that could land in world building. So I'll retroactively go back and state anytime we mention computer, world building. So you could add that to it, world building, because we are building the world. There's a computer, AI computer, technically. All right. So, but if we are learning about stuff, that is plot. So anything that keeps us understanding and learning about stuff to move the context and substance of what's has happened, is happening, or will happen, that's plot. If it is through the characters making choices and we're learning about their positions and we're seeing behavior, again, if they go for a Pepsi and then they change their mind and go for the power drink, that's character. All right, it's also technically plot, but there is character in it. Can it just be character? Sure. If a character says, someone goes, oh, did you hear about the Jets? And the character goes, I hate the Jets. It's not plot. It's just, but it is character. All right. All right. So moving on. Oh, I think my eyes are closed. Plot. That's not so bad. That's plot and character. That's not so bad. That's position. It's very funny. This is a very funny book. All I have to do is open them. I try, but nothing happens. That's plot. This one is definitely plot, but it also might be character. I can't open my eyes. All right. Moving on. Moving on. Ooh, exposition. All right, let's see. This is what I love about good exposition. Something about the question irritates me. All right, we learn that they're in a situation that they don't know what's going on. I'm tired, so that's exposition. I drift back to sleep. That is technically not exposition. A few minutes pass, exposition. Then I hear it again. Well, that's telling. What's 2 plus 2? All right, so this becomes exposition through character experience. So I talk about two very important things. There's character exposition, and then there's narrative exposition. Character exposition is external. Basically, it's just telling you what you need to know, whereas character exposition is through the experience of the character. So that's why this is such a good beat of exposition. It's enough to let us know what is to build on things. The soft feminine voice lacks emotion, and the pronunciation is identical to the previous time she said it. That is exposition, but it's through the character's perceived experience. It's a computer. Great. Character exposition. A computer is hassling me. I'm even more irritated now. These are both character expositions. If we go back down, whatever. I'm surprised. I meant to say, leave me alone. I completely. This is all character exposition. Character exposition is always going to allow exposition to basically be filtered through the experience and not be chunks. Bad exposition or straightforward narrative exposition would be what's 2 plus 2, the computer said. The computer said. It's a feminine voice lacking emotion, and lacking emotion. And then it's something about the question irritates me. I'm barely awake. I guess I have been sleeping. I must have been in a coma. I'm tired. That's you know what I'm saying? Like, it now crumbles and falls apart. But if you allow it to be filtered through moments, then not only are you, the reader, discovering what the characters are discovering, but it becomes more engaging. All right. Seeding. Well, seeding is good. What's 2 plus 2? All right. Somebody said something. The question irritates me. A few minutes later, what's 2 plus 2? All right. So we get two questions in the same thing. So that's already seeding the identical to the previous one. It means it keeps repeating it. But this is enough information to be like, it's a computer. All right, we know it's a computer now. So let's now lean into it's a computer. Incorrect, says the computer. What's 2 plus 2? This is technically, they're writing this because they want you to, just one more reminder that it's a computer. And then, let's see. Incorrect. What's 2 plus 2? We don't have to say it's a computer. What's going on? I can't see, I can't hear other than the computer. Maintaining presence. It's always good to maintain presence. Seeding is maintaining presence as well. I think my eyes are closed. That's not so bad. Well, no. So every element of what's going on, or I'm tired, I drift apart, I wake back up, it's hassling me, I'm irritated. They can't talk, they can't say words. Every time they can't say a word, that is seeding, because instead of saying, instead of saying I'm surprised, he goes, oh, what's going on? I can't speak. Oh, I must be having an issue because I'm in a coma. No, seeding is about spreading out that information to build on it, to build a narrative momentum and build character and just play with. You just want to play. Play on the playground. Just allow things to be filtered through. Seeding is taking an idea or a deep exposition. So basically, if you're writing, this is why this is so good. It's just everything is being said for a reason. If you're writing and you get to like a passage and you're explaining history or world or what's going on, there's nothing wrong with the fact that you're getting that information out. But what you should do as a writer is ask yourself, could I break this up and filter it through the scene? Could I break it up and filter it through chapters? Could I break it up? Okay? Could I break it up and add a dynamic back and forth? In fact, In fact, if you write like a monologue or a chunk of dialogue where there's just no behavior, it's just a character talking like, oh, the other day I was at the store and I realized that I was going to get a Pepsi, but I didn't get a Pepsi, so I went for the thing. And then I walked past this person and they were like, and I was like, and then I got there and I didn't have money on me. So that is a chunk, right? But can you break that up? Can you add behavior? Can you add physical behavior to the character speaking? Can you add behavior to the people listening? Could you add a back and forth to the conversation? What that does is it allows the logical narrative movement to create fast reading, and then it takes the slower pace, or that's a slug pace. If it takes that slug pace of just this long chunk and you break it up into this movement of back and forth, it creates engagement, it creates energy, it creates movement, it creates not urgency, agency from the characters, because they have questions, queries, and wonders that shows their behaviors. They are responding. They are choosing to say or not say. They are choosing to do or not do. So that's what's important about that kind of thing. All right, vague but informative. This is vague but informative is when you give enough information for the reader to know what's going on, answers the right questions while leaving the reader with questions. What's 2 plus 2? Is vague but informative. It creates a literal question, but who's asking it? Something about the question irritates me. I'm tired. I'm drifting back to sleep. Okay, so, all right, there's enough information to tell me that they were awake and now they're sleeping. Okay. A few minutes pass. Then I hear it again. Okay, what's going on? All right, so they just woke up and this something is saying something is the informative, but the vague is what is it? What's 2 plus 2? This creates the engagement because I need answers. Who's saying it? Now we answer it as we answer it. Soft feminine voice lacks emotion, blah, blah, blah. It's a computer. A computer is hassling me. All right, so now we know it is. So now the vague but informative led us to a beat, and that beat is only 61 words. And that beat created engagement and movement. And we repeated the thing, and we repeat this thing all throughout the whole opening scene, right? Anyway, this is vague but informative. Oh, what does that mean? Is he trying to say something? And he goes, I'm surprised. I meant to say, oh, all right. So now this is vague. The informative thing is he said something, but he's surprised at what he said. And then he says, I meant to leave. So in 3 beats, 3 quick, yeah, technically this is a beat. But in three sentences, we actually, the vague but informative becomes even more informative. This is vague. Oh, what happened? Is that a name? Did I misread that? Oh, he's surprised, or the character surprised. I meant to say, leave me alone. Okay. A completely reasonable response. Incorrect, says the computer. What's 2 plus 2? All right, so now we are building on that vague but informative element. This person is waking up and falling asleep. They must be something must be going on where the computer's trying to regulate or understand, right? Or testing the person, the first person, the protagonist. Time for an experiment. I say hello. Yes, incorrect. What's 2 plus 2? All right. And now we answer the vagueness. What's going on? I want to find out, but I don't have what it takes. I can't see. Wait. I'm on a bed. Oh, I think my eyes are closed. Okay. So it takes 156 words to take the vagueness that is informed enough to keep you understanding something is happening between this person. They're dealing with on and off sleep. They can't talk. There's a computer asking them questions. Oh, all right. They're in a bed. They're laying down. All right. So they're waking up from something. Vague but informative is so important to create engagement. But the informative part is not necessarily giving exposition so the reader knows exactly what is happening. Informative means that they understand what is happening, but don't know why, what, how, when, where. They don't have all those answers, but they have some of them. What, where, when, why, and how. They have some of them. What is happening? Somebody is asking a question. I don't have the why. I don't know where. I don't know when. I don't know who. I know something, right? What is happening? Somebody's asking a question. All right, so that's something. Positions and challenging them. All right, we talked about positions through the whole thing. We're getting on the hour, but something about the question irritates me. That's a position. Jeff back. What's 2 plus 2? Computer. It's a computer hassling me. All right, so we're adding to this. We're adding to this position. We are building on it that the character doesn't like being asked a bunch of questions or being the repeating of a question, which also comes up later in the book, by the way. The character doesn't like being, can get overwhelmed quickly because they have anxiety and you got to read the book or watch the movie. Let's see. I meant to say a completely reasonable response, in my opinion. This is adding to the hassling element, that position, but it's also adding a position or a definer of who the character is. Time for an experiment. This is good too, because this is seeding and vague but informative, but we learn that he's a scientist. We learn that he's also a science teacher, right? So, time for an experiment. We learned a position here. They do experiments. They're willing to test things. They're willing to find solutions. There's a lot going on there. Incorrect. What's going on? I can't feel. Something. I'm laying down. Ooh, I can't hear. I can't even feel. No, that's not right. True. I feel something. I think my eyes are closed. Let's see. Yeah. Open. By the way, this activity is a position. They are willing to push themselves. They don't just give up. They will continue to challenge, but they also get frustrated. So there's a lot of positions there. We're learning positions really are beliefs and styles and things that the character stands by and things that we can challenge later on. I say, keeping my eyes closed. Eye movement detective. Eye movement detected. All right, anyway. All right, there you go. Yeah. Yeah, I said, yeah. You make me want to shout. All right, so there you go. That is it. Just real quick, if you didn't know, make a right left here.com. I have some books available. Books on writing, 27 plot point outline. Books on epic fantasy. I got noir books, crime. And then, of course, I have how to be successful books. Boom, boom, bang, bang, bang. All right, other than that, let's get to the right mind spirit. As I said before, and for any of those wondering, what's the point of analyzing prose anyway? Well, it's just more work for you, the writer, to do when you already have your own work. So why am I going to learn this, Thomas? Why do I want to learn this? Well, because the truth is, it's part of the writing process. Writing is more than having a story to tell. Writing, my friend, is a deeper understanding of narrative, right? Right? Why is this not? 1 second. Boop. Yeah, because Because in reality, writing is way more than storytelling, as I said, because writing is asking questions, making choices, and ultimately finding the confidence within you to know when something is or isn't working. The power of having the skills to analyze anything from the passages to the prose style, whatever the case is, in general, is going to elevate your own approach. Am I saying you have to do this when reading every book? No, but I do have to say that not all writing is writing when you write. I'll repeat that. Not all writing is writing when you write. You don't have to only write your books to practice. You can practice outside of writing. It's important to practice too when you're not writing, and part of that is taking a chapter from someone else's book and analyzing it. As you develop these skills, you can then analyze your own chapters. Remember, great writing is rewriting, but none of it matters if you're not willing to do the work. So strengthen your craft by putting in the work, time, and develop what's already great in you and make it stronger. Anyway, next video in this series, well, we're going to just continue to have fun exploring words. I'll surprise you with the next book, but I will continue bringing some books to you. By the way, if you have a video idea you would like me to go into, say there was something about this video, you're like, hey, can you go into that deeper? Let me know in the comments below. If there's something about your own writing, remember, I am a developmental editor and a writing teacher. I'm happy to make a video for you. And if you give it to me in a comment, I will film it and then just put it up. I won't schedule it. I'll just, there it is. Boom, done for you. Other than that, like what you saw today, hit the subscribe button and the bell icon so you don't miss out. And if you found this really helpful, give it a thumbs up and share it. They say the algorithm, YouTube loves it. I don't know. Anyway. Oh, by the way, Saturdays and Sundays at 2 p.m. Eastern Standard Time every week. I do live videos. Every Saturday is more educational. And what is it? Oh, yeah. I show real-time examples. But Sundays are the Write a Book with Me series from concept to completion. I am loving the series. We are deep into it. Other than that, I'm Thomas J. Bellezza, and as always, keep developing the right mindset. I'll see you next time. Bye.